Welcome into the Bite Meat podcast. As always, we really appreciate you guys joining us. We love the fact that so many people are subscribing on Podbean and iTunes and Spotify and joining us. Of course, we post it every week on the group page as well. So you guys can join the group page at Bite Me on Facebook, and we'll go from there. But we are joined every week. We are brought to you every week by Texas Star Grill Shop, Rick, Martin, and Michelle, and all the fine people over there. And coincidentally enough, I was at Texas Star Grill Shop yesterday, and they have the Big Green Egg truckload sale going on. That's just pure coincidence, but we are joined today by Dan Gertsacov, CEO of the Big Green Egg. And Dan, first of all, thank you for joining us. But man, we got a lot to cover. First thing I want to get with you is EGGtoberfest, man. Whew, I was watching this from afar. I wish I was there. But EGGtoberfest, 50 years of Big Green Egg. Tell me it hasn't been 50 years, even though I know it has, because that is quite the event. Kind of take us through that whole EGGtoberfest.
Sure. Look, EGGtoberfest, like a lot of good things that happened with the Big Green Egg, started in a backyard 27 years ago, where literally our eggheads started gathering together, and it started to grow. And now, 27 years later, there are 5,000 friends and neighbors, eggheads, all together in a minor league baseball stadium. And people literally came from all over the world. And it was based in, just north of Atlanta. But we had people not only from 25 different countries, of folks that represent Big Green Egg in those countries, but eggheads. I had a guy flew in from Nova Scotia, another group come to cook from Portland, Oregon, another group. And this was all organic. This is people cooking for their neighbors. Mm-hmm. And that's where the brand started 50 years ago. That's where EGGtoberfest began 27 years ago. And that's the way it's going to be for the next 50 years. This brand and our set of beliefs is around gathering families, friends, and neighbors to cook over live fire. And
look, man, you said a lot there that I want to dig on. First of all, the eggheads. I'm telling you, I'm kind of, as you can probably surmise, I'm a sicko when it comes to cooking, whether it's live fire or smoking or whatever. So I have a lot of friends in the community, and when you talk, you can talk to people that are loyal to whatever brand that they like. But when you talk to a loyal Big Green Egg person, it's like another world, like their eyes glass over. I mean, what is it? What is it about the eggheads?
Yeah, look, it's far beyond the product, right? Because there are a lot of products out there. Brands are built, and this one has been built over emotion and creating memories. Mm-hmm. And one of the examples that I give and I repeat to our own team and our dealers and distributors, folks like Texas Star Grill Shop and the other 5,200 dealers around the United States, what we share with them is the fact that Big Green Egg ends up in people's obituaries. About twice a month, I get a tag where somebody said, hey, and Jim liked to cook for his family on his Big Green Egg. And that is unique, not only in the grilling industry, you don't see that really with any other brand, but also really with any brand, even some of the top 5-10 brands in the world. They don't talk about those brands in the last 200 words. And what drives it is not the device. It's the memories that people create. It's its iconic shape, its iconic name, the brash color. The product has become bigger than that. And it's about the community that drew me in 15 years ago to buy an egg and drew me to become the CEO now 6 months ago.
So you bought an egg?
I did.
Yeah,
15 years ago.
And then all of a sudden, here you are as CEO. I think I got this right. You actually were sort of drawn to becoming a chef and culinary school early on before you went down the marketing and economics road, correct?
That is correct. When I was a teenager, if you'd asked me what I was going to be, I was going to be a chef, and I was applying to culinary school as I was applying to college and kept coming back to it. And when I was in culinary school, in this case, I was in Thailand. I was obsessed and still am with Thai food. I realized it wasn't that I wanted to be a chef. I just wanted to have a hobby in food. And I've kept that hobby for the last 25 or 27 years. And I did. I went to Google, and then I ended up later on in the restaurant industry, in the franchising part of the restaurant industry. And then finally where I've gotten today, which is with a brand that I love, working on my hobby, and it's not work when you're working on your hobby. And that's why I'm blessed to be in the position I'm in and to help lead a cult of fans like we have at Big Green Egg.
Yeah, and you mentioned Thailand. I believe I also have this right. You've traveled extensively around the world. You've spent a lot of time getting to know Latin America, and to me that was a good starting point. It got me thinking a little bit about the world in which we live now. We had the CEO of Badia Spices on, and he was telling us about how the spice racks these days are so much more elaborate, so much more complete compared to even just 10 years ago. Is that, I know Big Green Egg is around the world, but is that a market that is built? It seems like it's built for the Big Green Egg because of whether it's Latin America or Asia, a lot of their history in cooking is live fire, and a lot of it, even more of it maybe, is in the ceramic, the Big Green Egg kamado style.
That's exactly right. I'll tell you just a minute on my journey, and then I'll answer your question about how Big Green Egg fits in. Yeah, my journey started 27 years ago when I made a decision, a life goal, a life quest to learn 50 cuisines. I thought it would take me 50 years, figure I get a vacation every year, and I'll just go to a different place to learn about food. And I started doing that every year. And it's when I landed, this is about 17 years ago, so 15 years ago, I landed in Argentina. I was working with Google at the time. And Argentina, like many cultures around the world, is a bastion for live fire cooking. And so that's when I started going deeper on live fire cooking. And since then, I've gone to New Zealand to, dig a pit with the Maori. I've gone to Korea to do Korean barbecue. I've done live fire now in 45 places in 28 countries around the world. So it's been, like I said, a hobby that's turned in now to my purpose. Now, stepping back, where does Big Green Egg fit in? Now, for 800,000 years, humans are putting fire to food, right? This has been going on for a long time. And it's the idea that in the last 100 years, 150 years, we're the first people to figure out how to, the romance and the connection that comes from building a fire, feeding your friends and family and your neighbors and your village. That's been going on for a long time. And that is global. That is, I saw it in South Africa. I see it in Switzerland. I see it in the United States, in every state and every city. It is people coming together. So this idea of, what is old is new again, of people coming together, especially in a post-pandemic world, I think we're rejecting a lot of that technology that's become so pervasive in our life. I know I am. Yeah. I'm actually looking for a place to disconnect so that I can reconnect with what's important. And what's important to me is hosting my family, friends, and neighbors, and cooking, whether it's barbecue or, smoking, grilling, roasting, whatever it is, it's about hospitality and connection with people, not with devices. And that's what Big Green Egg stands for. And while, we think that this is, something that's new, as I said, it's been in our society and really built into the DNA to humans to look to fire. And that's what we're doing at Big Green Egg.
Yeah, it's so funny. You mentioned New Zealand and Argentina and Korea because of my day job as a sports writer and broadcaster. I spent a month in Argentina, and I'm with you, man. I mean, I believe they call them spetos, with the meat on the stick. And then in Korea, I spent a month there for the World Cup, and I spent not New Zealand, but in Australia, I spent a month there for the Olympics. And so I can relate personally. But what we're going to share with our listeners right now is the style of food, even 15 years ago, wasn't as prevalent here. Now, Houston is where I am, and we're broadcasting all over the country, but Houston is a very unique city in terms of so many cultures coming in. We maybe were ahead of the curve, but it seems like it's emanating across the country. The style of cooking, that's what I want to talk to you about, that it seems to fit, what you guys are doing, just sort of a good sort of dynamic there.
Yeah, and one of the things that Big Green Egg's been known for is the tagline, the ultimate cooking experience. And when I get the question, why is it the ultimate cooking experience? Well, anything you can do indoors in your kitchen, you can do on one device outdoors in your backyard or your porch. And that's what's special. Big Green Egg, because this is not only its design, but the materials, the quality of the ceramics allows you to cold smoke something at 100, 150 degrees, all the way up to, your typical smoking 200, 225 and hold it for 18 hours to get you up to 350 where you start to bake or grill, going higher to 400 to getting a pizza done at 600, 700 degrees in 60 seconds. It can go from that 150 up to 750 and hold that temperature. And you won't find that. I have a collection of 13 different barbecues, grills, and smokers, and that was before I started working at Big Green Egg. So I have a hobby in this, and as I said, I respect all different ways and that cultures and people have come up with this idea of hosting outdoors. And I will tell you that the most versatile, the reason why I bought a Big Green Egg and the reason why I needed a kamado to add is a 5,000-year-old device. A kamado cooker were designed in Japan and Korea and made more popular there before Ed Fisher brought it over to the United States 50 years ago. But that style of cooker and the quality of, you won't get that out of metal. You don't get that out of aluminum. You don't get that out of cast. You get that out of ceramics that retains the heat and allows you to go from low and slow to hot and fast and do everything in between. There's going to be people, myself included, that will do literally from the appetizer to the dessert this Thanksgiving on one device on the Big Green Egg. And that's why it's a memory making machine.
The other thing about the Big Green Egg, and I just think it's so fascinating from the eggheads to EGGtoberfest to what it is. Back, you're really into this. I'm really into it. A lot of our listeners are really into it. Some of them are just sort of getting into this. The one thing that everybody's looking for is consistency of the temperature, consistency of what you're going to be able to cook. And when you go back, and I know you've told this story, but you can kind of just touch on it. When Ed Fisher decided and had his light bulb moment, it was the consistency that really sort of drew him, wasn't it?
That's exactly right. I mean, he was bringing over all sorts of things from Japan, and they loaded up one of these cookers on his container coming over. He was selling pinball machines and other things for your, the 1970s family room. I grew up with one of those. And what happened is they put one of these cookers out front and put some chicken wings on it. 1974, chicken wings aren't what they are today. He chose chicken wings because they were easy, they were relatively inexpensive, and everybody can pick one up as hopefully draw people in. The original demo, right? So that's how this brand started. He was a retailer first and was using the egg and food to draw people in the store. Now, what happened is, trends started to change. People didn't want the other products, but they kept asking about that thing that made the chicken wings. How could it be so good? And it was, what it was both the grilling from the bottom of the you get the crispy skin, but the convection that happens with the closed lid. And the ceramics that retain the heat. I mean, even then, it was a clay cooker back then, and the ceramics came in the 80s. But even then, even the clay cookers do a better job of holding that, retaining that heat. And that's why it cooks the perfect chicken wing. That's why we chose for our 50th anniversary celebration to break the Guinness World Record for the largest serving ever of chicken wings. And if you want to break it, it's it's going to be 655 pounds. Is that the number pounds of chicken wings you need to serve? But getting back to the flavor that comes off of a Big Green Egg, like I said, whether you're grilling or baking a cake or smoking a brisket, you're going to be able to get the consistency, and it turns kind of everybody. I think the product is easy to use once you get over a learning curve. Part of our job and what I'm bringing to the company is a focus on product, so it can be a bit less intimidating. I get people say, hey, I just need to turn a gas grill on. I have 13 grills at home. I don't have a gas grill. I think gas is a great way to start a fire. I don't think you should cook food over it. And I think that all other systems, whether it's, embers that come from wood or charcoal, which is just carbonized wood, that's the flavor that should be on our food. And that's where Big Green Egg has always stuck around in lump charcoal. If you need lighter fluid to start something, you're starting with the wrong fuel. Right. If you need to, have a gas connection or plug something in to start a fire or to start the heat, you've started wrong. And like I said, with respect to all other ways of grilling and roasting and smoking, I think the Big Green Egg and its iconic shape, its iconic name, and what it means for the community of people that believe in this lifestyle, that's why it makes it the ultimate cooking experience.
I have a theory on the Big Green Egg's popularity, and you can disagree, agree, or whatever. My theory on the Big Green Egg is people want approachability. They want it to be approachable. I think the color makes it very approachable, and how that happened, I know I've read it over the years. I don't remember exactly right now, but just pulling that color, I think, kind of makes it inviting. So immediately it's more approachable than a big black, let's say it was black or white or whatever, egg that they've never seen any cooking device like that in their life. It might not be as approachable. I think the color is approachable, and I think the ease with which you can keep the fire is very, you can use charcoals, man. I mean, you don't have to just go with charcoals, but people want to say, oh, I lit the fire and that was pretty much it. I mean, would you agree or disagree with the approachability factor here?
I agree. And I think I agree for the people who are already in the tent. My goal is to make the tent bigger, because I think it does. If you've tried the food, you're willing to do it. I get a lot of people that say it looks intimidating. I don't want to get my hands dirty. I just want, like I said, I want to turn the knob. Gas is about 50% of the industry, where I think it's the worst flavor of any of the ways of cooking. So I think you have to address that. There's a convenience factor that I think charcoal is an opportunity to address. And I don't think we need an app to do that. We're already working on ways with airflow, like we've been doing for thousands of years, making the perfect fire. So I do think that it's approachable. The story with both the name and the color, because they're like unicorns, but there exists blue big green eggs. In the early 80s, they were making different colors when they were coming out of Japan. And what he was doing a newspaper out of all things. And the guy said, you can't call it kamado. Nobody knows that Japanese word.
Yeah.
What are you going to call it? And Ed Fisher, our founder, in his genius, this is all the market research he needed. He said, it's big. I like the color green, and it looks like an egg. Let's call it a big green egg.
How about that? Sometimes you go into marketing genius by accident. Your marketing genius, and I'm not trying to blow smoke at you here, but I'm just saying your marketing genius is more, educated and experienced, driven. Product development, to me, with the big green egg is one of those things where you have the different sizes. You have great accessories that are exclusive to the big green egg, which I know that's it. Where's the next market? How do you get? Or are you just trying to expand what you have, because it is very unique?
Yeah, so our business, not unlike other folks in the industry, but our business is the appliance itself. In our case, a ceramic egg, the accessories that go along with it. Whether that's the furniture to house it, or the spatula to flip the food, or the pizza wedge, or whatever the accessories piece, and then the fuel. Right. And we have a lot of different partners who work in all three of those. I don't think we need to add a fourth component in order to grow. I think that we've got opportunity to deepen our partnerships and deepen the really be the premium option, as we are today in ceramics, continue to be the premium option we are in fuel and we are in accessories. And that's where we're going to be double down. I love, a lot of our accessories, or some of our accessories, and I'm being completely honest, as a consumer, I was like, yeah, but I have a better spatula, or why did they choose that apron? And we're going to make sure that what everybody knows for the premium nature of the grills extends to the accessories. The fuel, this is one of the hottest debated topics, like which has the best charcoal, and you'll get 100 people saying big green egg, and 100 people say another brand, and 100 people say the other. We believe, and we're working with our partners so that it's undisputed, that if it's got the big green egg logo on it, it's going to be, and that means if you wanted big chunks, you're getting big chunks. The rocks that are in it. I went to the factory where they make this, made in the United States in Missouri, and I see why there are rocks, because they dump all the wood. This is wood. They dump it, they lift it, they put it in, it's all natural, but there are rocks that get in the system, and the way that they, get the rocks out, we're turning to them and saying, we've got to improve. People aren't buying this to buy rocks or pieces of metal in it or whatever. And I believe we can double down on the quality of a great product and make it even better. So I don't think that we need to be a different big green egg. I think we're a renovated or a rejuvenated approach to a 50-year classic.
Yeah. One other thing that I think is interesting, has always piqued my interest with the big green egg, and maybe you're changing this, maybe not, but it has always piqued my interest, and that is places like Texas Star Grill Shop. Hands-on sales, hands-on answering questions questions, hands-on experience. A lot of these retailers have guys there, if not all of them, that have cooked on a big green egg, as opposed to big box store where you go by and it's just, well, I don't know, nobody really knows a whole lot about it. That's got to be very strategic. Is that something that you feel is gonna continue?
Yeah, we are the only major brand in the industry that has maintained our focus on small independent dealers, like the Texas Star Grill Shop, like Ace Hardware, and many others. Like I said, 5,200 from pool and spa to feed stores. To why would we go about doing this if we, everybody else is on Amazon and everybody else is in, those big boxes? Is because of the neighbor in that store who knows that neighborhood, knows that person, takes out their phone and says, this is what I cooked this weekend. And that experience is still what we value as a brand. And we are owned privately. Not only we're the only one who aren't in those channels, we're the only one who hasn't either sold to a larger competitor, went public, or got bought by private equity of the largest brands in the industry. And as a result, we can do things that are based on our values for the next 50 years versus our short-term, pump and dump that I've worked, with private equity. Not all of them are the same, but a lot of them have a 3-year, 5-year time horizon. And literally I put when I started in front of our board of directors, a 10-year plan. And you can only do that when you're family owned, operated. And my friends over at Sierra Nevada Beer said, argued over. That's a family-driven company, and that's special. And it's special in that case of that local neighborhood grill shop, that local neighborhood hardware store, where you can go in and see the same person, talk about the food, and have a connection, and not just be another online order. Look, we're available to purchase online. We give you online. All those same things are true, but it's the combination of online and offline, that in real life experience that makes Big Green Egg what it is today. So I'm not looking to, we don't.
It's personal. It's a personal thing too. It's very. I can go in there right now, and there's 3 or 4 guys that'll tell me everything they know, and this and this and this. Let me ask you this though. What they say about the biggest form of flattery being imitation. A lot of industry leaders, whether it's Big Green Egg, but we're going to talk about you. A lot of people have, since Traeger went nuts on the pellet grills, there's been a lot of imitations, et cetera. How do you stay ahead on that?
Sure. Well, it's fun. I'll tell you my own personal story, because I was living in South America when I bought my egg. And at the time, Big Green Egg was not, or any kamado was distributed I was in Bogota, Colombia. Nobody was selling any of them in Bogota, but I knew I wanted one in my collection. So I was going to buy it in the US and then import it, having never cooked on it. Right. So that's just my unique situation again with a collection. So what did I do? I went online, I looked at the reviews, I looked at this website, or why do you like this one? Why do you like that one? And at the end of the day, it was the community around Big Green Egg that convinced me that I wanted to be part of that community. And what made it so special was that community of people. Now, they can imitate a product feature. They can, take your shape and make a different color, but they can't replicate that community. And they can't replicate that authentic connection that people feel to each other, and they feel to the memories that they've created on it. I have a perfect example. We have played a role in divorces and and people fighting over whether it's a divorce or a will, the estate, and they're talking about a product that they could go and buy another one of. But the reason why they're fighting over it is because it's not about the product. It's about the memories they associate with that product. And that's what Big Green Egg represents. So I think it is a form of flattery. I think it makes us sharper to compete and to earn the trust of that next purchaser of the egg. But we do not have to. We are the if you will, the Kleenex of the industry. When people talk about other products, they'll say, oh, that's a different colored egg. And we need to double down on being the premium signature community and the best in outdoor cooking. And as a result, our tent, as I described, will get bigger, will be more. I want to be more inclusive. If you believe in gathering with your friends, family, neighbors, to cook over live fire. You can be a 35-year-old mother of 3 living in Seattle, or a 65-year-old retiree in Texas, and want to stay up all night smoking because you believe in the same set of beliefs. And it doesn't matter, like I said, age, demographic, politics. It's about bringing people together. And I think that can bring us together in a way that other products or other things can't. Food, every part ends in the kitchen.
When you become, and I only know this term because I'm a writer and a grammar nerd, but when you become an eponym, the term is eponym, like Coke. Say somebody says I'm going to get a Coke. Somebody says I'm going to get a Q-tip. Somebody says I'm going to get a Kleenex. That is the ultimate sign right there. Like Big Green Egg now is an eponym for the Kamado style. But the other part of that is not just the community, but your ambassador program and celebrities. I forget what it was. I was reading something or looking at some pictures, and it was a big time celebrity, and he was in his house, in his backyard, and I'm like, oh, he's got a Big Green Egg. I mean, it's just stuff like that. I'm like, hey, look at that.
Jimmy Fallon, if you look, do a search.
That's it. That was the one. That was
Jimmy
the one.
Fallon, Big Green Egg. He did a 2-minute love song that we literally could not have paid him to do. Like, we wouldn't have the money to do it.
That's the one I saw.
And he did it authentically. We have the multiple examples of where this ends up. People like, what did you do to get in, this TV show, or be referenced in the Family Guy, or be in this? And we didn't. All we were an authentic version of the brand, and we are an authentic version of the brand we are. And the people wanted, Mark Zuckerberg did a live with Big Green Eggs behind him. We didn't ask or pay for that kind of. It's just authentic. They connect with the product. And I think you said, Jenny, I went to grad school and been studying marketing. I was a CMO of a big brands, and I've done a lot of that work. You could not, the authenticity and the credibility that comes with Big Green Egg. The worst thing you could do is to try to go monetize that for the short term. Go try to make the quickest buck you can and move on to the next guy. That is how other brands have, when they face competition or they faced kind of turning point moments in their history, when they went for the cheap buck is when they became a commodity. We're going to lean into, this is a premium experience. I wouldn't say it's luxury. There are other luxury folks that are, they say, oh my gosh, paying $1,500 for a grill when I can buy a $300 grill. Why would I do that? Well, there are $10,000 grills out there, $15,000 grills. That's not Big Green Egg. The difference between a $1,500 and a $300 one is the $300 one you may have to replace 5 times over the next 20 years. Where you'll be giving that Big Green Egg down to your son or your grandson or your daughter or your granddaughter. And that's what, a product that's built for life and comes with a lifetime warranty on the ceramics. That's what the authenticity and quality. And that's why I think you see, you see celebrities and you see other folks flock to it. We just had Matthew McConaughey just made a shout out to the best way to make a steak is on a Big Green Egg. And that was authentic. There was nothing we could have done to make him, do that, except be a great version of the product that we are.
Before we let you go here, I want to ask you to tap into your culinary experience, because we like to help our listeners with some of the things they like to cook and techniques. And I know you're not Aaron Franklin, and you're not, but you are really, really good. What are some of the ways that you wish people would realize you can use the Big Green Egg for this? Because we are all kind of pigeonholed, at least at the start, with brisket, chicken, ribs, pork shoulder, but there are so many. What are some of like your experiences cooking, from 15, 17 years ago to now? What are some of the things like, man, this is so good for this meat and this style?
Oh yeah. I got 2 for you from Thanksgiving, and we had them literally today in our office. We did an employee potluck, and these are 2 of the dishes that our employees brought. And these are recipes that I myself have also tried that I swear by. And it's not the main course, the proteins that you're referencing. It's a starter and it's a dessert. The starter, which blew me away today, and I've tried this on my own as well, is smoked olives. So this is
that's a new one for me even.
Oh yeah. So you take, a typical set, kind of the bigger Italian set of olives. You're not looking for the ones that come in a can. The higher end set of olives. You want to get it about 150, 180.
I'm writing this down, by the way.
Put it in. in a Pyrex with a little bit of liquid braising. I put a little bit of alcohol in it, and you're going to get it for about an hour or 2 hours, and with a little bit of apple wood, any fruit wood, any hard fruit wood, and those smoking chips you'll put in really for the last 30 minutes. I don't recommend smoking chips from the beginning. You're really only going to get the flavors really infused in that last 30, 45 minutes. You always want to put them in a little bit of water. You'll get more smoke. So that's for the appetizer. When you finish, when they come off, they're fully cooked. While they're still warm, mix in a little bit of chopped garlic, a little bit of rosemary, and a little bit of olive oil, salt, serve. You're good to go. Great appetizer off your grill. At the tail end, two things that go well with barbecue: bourbon and pecan, bourbon pecan pie. One of the best things that I've tried on the egg, because you also get that smoky flavor that you want to imbibe. Now, in this, the best case I've seen is also smoking the pecans in advance. You can do those with the olives at the same time in a separate container. And when you get the smoked pecans, then you're in your mix. You want to mix both a little bit of bourbon, the smokier the better, in with those pecans, and then you're going to bake the whole thing on your big green egg at about 350. There you want to use what we call the convector, which creates indirect heat. You don't want that to be a direct, but the convection nature of the egg will create one of the best desserts you've ever had. So you're smoking from start to middle to finish, and that's one of the best things you can do.
All right. Well, one of the things I always like to do at the end of these podcasts is, because the community of the barbecue community is amazing. I mean, from the chefs to the pit masters to leaders in the industry like yourself, in terms of being involved in charitable organizations, in initiatives for things like that. So I always like to sort of lay the platform out for you, things that Big Green Egg has been involved in, will be involved in, and maybe our people can take part in that as well.
Yeah, so our charitable mission as a company, and this is something that we're continuing to build on, and this is one of the interests of our founder, our Ed Fisher, who started, like I said, 50 years ago, is 90 years old, and was there as master of ceremonies at the EGGtoberfest. Our charitable mission, our social mission, is to unite local communities through food. Now, the ways that we think about that happening, and there's lots of ways you can unite a local community through food, but the two ways we're channeling those efforts, one is connecting people to local farmers and local markets. So we have a conversation supporting your local farmers market, supporting your local farmer directly where you live, and getting food that's local to you and not only supports your community, but is better for your family, healthier for your family, whether that's protein or vegetables or whatever it may be. That is one of the things that we're going to double down on as a brand. And we're starting to look for partners who can help us do that. I want to figure out a way, and this is an open invitation to any of your listeners. I want to figure out a way for Big Green Egg to support those local green markets literally around the country. The second is food brings people together, especially in moments of crisis and moments of emergency. We had an example just recently in the Southeast of hurricanes coming through, but there have been hurricanes that come through Texas and Atlanta, and we have a drought going on in New York and wildfires in California. Unfortunately, we've got a lot of cases of this, and what brings people together, you need to feed those first responders. You need to feed the people whose electricity went out and they're losing where their refrigerators are out and they got to use their food. And you can't do it if you got to plug it in. And a Big Green Egg and the lack of plugs makes the Big Green Egg very valuable. So just in this case, we came together. This is one of many charities that we support. We came together around EGGtoberfest, and we raised almost $150,000 for Operation Barbecue Relief. That's one of many, but this is a great example of a deserving organization that feeds people in moments of crisis. And we want to continue to do that. And we're not doing it because, we get the brand. They're a nice. Right. We're doing it because these are our values. This is what the company is for. We could have, Ed Fisher had multiple chances to sell the company. He could have gone down that route, taken his money and gone on in the sunset. He has held on to the company with the same way we've been doing business, with the same product, with the same iconic design. And we may be alone in that. And if we're alone, we're going to continue on that path alone for the next 50 years and beyond. And I hope many of your members of your community can reconnect. If they've never given a Big Green Egg a chance, to give it a shot, give it a chance for a ceramic grill to change the way you think about how versatile, how important heat retention is with ceramics, and how important the ceramic closed lid can be to your live fire grilling.
Fantastic stuff. That is Dan Gertsacov. This is the Bite Meat podcast. And of course, as always, we will have coming up right now the Bite Meat Smoking Hot Tip of the week. And we're going to be talking to Juan Castro, coincidentally, over from Texas Star Grill Shop. Dan, couldn't thank you more. We always have some great people and leaders in the industry on this podcast, and I've been looking forward to it. And you delivered, my man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All righty.